The fluorescent lights in the clinic hummed above me. They were cold, sharp, and too bright. I sat in the corner chair, my knees pulled in tight against my chest. My mother didn't let me sit near her or my younger brother, Evan. She made me sit by the cracked window where cold air leaked through, chilling my arms. I sat there like a stranger in my own family. Evan, my little brother, sat in the exam chair like it was his throne. His small legs swung back and forth, not reaching the ground. He whistled a little tune while the nurse wrapped the blood pressure cuff around his arm. My mother stood beside him, stroking his hair like he was a king. Her voice was soft when she spoke to him, like he was fragile glass that needed protection. I watched. I stayed silent. I had learned long ago that silence was safer. The door opened. The doctor stepped in with his clipboard, glasses slipping down his nose. He glanced at Evan and then at the papers. "We'll need to run some blood work to check his levels," he said calmly. "He's been showing signs of fatigue." Before I could even understand the words, my mother's laugh cut through the air like a blade. She leaned forward in her chair, smiling a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Can't you just take her blood instead?" She tilted her chin at me. "She's just storage anyway." The words slammed into me harder than any slap could. The nurse froze, eyes flickering to me. The doctor shifted awkwardly. But my mother didn't care. She smirked. "Why waste his blood when hers is sitting there? She doesn't have much of a purpose, but maybe this time she can finally give something back." Evan giggled. "Yeah. Mom's right. She's like a spare tank. Just take hers." My chest tightened. I wanted to yell. I wanted to scream that I was not storage, not a spare part, not something to use and throw away. But my voice stuck in my throat. I bit the inside of my cheek until I tasted blood. The doctor cleared his throat. "That's not how it works, ma'am. We need his blood for accuracy." My mother waved her hand as if she didn't care. "Of course, I know that. But wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be nice to finally get something useful out of her?" She laughed louder, so the sound carried into the hallway. I sat frozen. My face burned, but I forced myself not to cry. When the nurse took Evan's blood, my mom kissed the top of his head as if he had done something heroic. Then she turned to me. "See how brave he is? You'd probably faint. That's why you're better as storage." Her words pressed deep into me like fire on skin. My fists clenched, nails digging crescents into my palms. But I didn't move. I didn't cry. I let it burn. Because I wanted to remember every word. On the way home, my mom called my dad on the phone. She bragged. "You should have heard me. I told the doctor she's just storage." Everyone laughed. Evan cackled in the back seat. "Yeah, Dad. She's like a fridge, just keeping parts until I need them." Their laughter filled the car, bouncing off the windows, pressing me into silence. I looked out at the gray streets passing by. I stayed quiet. When we got home, Dad stood waiting by the door. "How was it?" he asked, kissing Mom on the cheek. "Evan was perfect," she said. "And Rachel?" "Well, I finally told the doctor what she really is." "Storage." "Said it out loud?" Dad roared with laughter. "Good. Someone needed to say it. She should be thankful she even has a roof over her head. Maybe we should start charging rent for keeping her here." Evan hopped up the stairs, chanting, "Storage, storage, storage." I stood still, my legs trembling. Their voices pressed down on me, heavy and cruel. But deep inside, something shifted. They thought I was storage. Then I would be storage. I would store every insult, every laugh, every cruel look. I would keep it all safe. Because storage doesn't just hold junk. Storage remembers. Storage keeps things until the right time. And I promised myself the right time would come. The nickname stuck. From that day on, my parents and Evan didn't just treat me as worthless. They turned storage into a weapon. It became their chant, their joke, their tool to remind me that I wasn't a daughter, wasn't a sister, wasn't even human. I would walk into the kitchen and see a sticky note on the fridge. Storage unit, don't eat the good food. It was my mother's handwriting. Sharp. Cold. Dad came home from work one evening, tossed his muddy boots at me, and said, "Here, storage. Put those away. At least you're useful for something." Evan took it further. He called his friends on speakerphone. "Come over and see my family's storage unit. She even cooks sometimes." His friends laughed. I heard their voices through the walls. And if I dared to protest, Evan would sneer, "Careful. Don't wake the storage unit. It gets loud." Every word burned. Every laugh felt like fire. But instead of falling apart, I listened more carefully. I watched them. I paid attention. I stored it all. At dinner, Mom bragged about Evan's grades. "My son will be a doctor. Maybe a lawyer. Maybe both." Unlike her. She tilted her chin at me. "She's lucky if she remembers to breathe." Dad barked a laugh. "Storage doesn't need brains. Just empty space." Evan stabbed his fork into his steak. "Don't worry, Mom. If I ever need a transplant, I know where to get it." They roared with laughter. I chewed my food slowly, breathing evenly. Because now silence wasn't weakness. Silence was survival. The more they mocked me, the more I learned about them. What they valued. What they bragged about. What they feared. They worshipped appearances. They worshipped Evan's future. They worshipped money and their spotless reputation in the neighborhood. I stored it all. One night, I passed the living room door and overheard my mom on the phone with her sister. Her voice carried easily through the wood. "Rachel? Oh, she's nothing. We keep her around, but honestly, she's just taking up space. Evan is our legacy. He's everything. She's storage. Everyone knows it now." Her sister laughed with her. I pressed my back against the wall, nails digging into the wallpaper. My chest rose and fell with fury. They weren't just mocking me inside these walls. They were spreading it to others. Cementing my label everywhere. A few days later, I went to the grocery store with my mom. She bumped into an old neighbor. She introduced Evan like royalty. Then she smirked and said, "And this is Rachel. Our storage. Isn't it funny?" The neighbor chuckled awkwardly, not sure what to say. But my mom's smirk said everything. She thought she had one. By then, my skin had grown numb to the cruelty. But my mind? My mind was sharper than ever. That night, lying in bed with the glow of the street lamp cutting lines across my walls, I whispered to myself. Storage remembers. They thought I was weak. But I was not weak. I was recording. I was keeping everything. Not just their words. Their weaknesses. Their lies. Their patterns. And I was done letting them pile their junk into me. That's when the plan began. It started small. Dad left bills out on the counter. I memorized numbers. Mom bragged to her friends about Evan's achievements. I noted every lie, every exaggeration. Evan bragged online about cheating on tests, bullying kids, breaking rules. I screenshotted everything. Yes. Storage indeed. I stored it all. The more I collected, the stronger I felt. Every cruel word was another crack in their perfect family picture. One night, Evan barged into my room without knocking. He held up his phone. Storage. My friends loved that video of you crying at the doctor's office. Want to do another? Maybe this time you can beg for scraps. He laughed, expecting me to cry. But I just stared at him. Silent. He shifted uncomfortably and left. My silence unsettled him. Mom noticed too. One morning she frowned at me. What's with you? Not crying anymore? Not fighting back? Did you finally accept what you are? I smiled faintly. For the first time in weeks, a real smile. I'm just listening. Her smirk faltered. By the time the next doctor's appointment came, I was ready. Not to scream. Not to fight. But to end it. Because the clinic wasn't just a place of humiliation anymore. It was going to be the stage of their downfall. That day, Mom marched in with her usual arrogance. Evan bounced beside her, grinning. Dad trailed behind, already smiling. I followed quietly, clutching my bag. We sat in the same room as before. Evan climbed into the chair, whining about the needle. Mom cooed, "Don't worry, sweetheart. If you faint, maybe Rachel's blood can cover you again. She's just storage." Dad chuckled. Hell, why not drain her completely? Then at least she'd finally serve a purpose. Their laughter rang through the sterile room. But this time, they weren't the only ones listening. Because inside my bag, my phone was recording. Propped up perfectly. Every word, every laugh, every cruel insult captured. The doctor came in, glanced at the chart, then frowned. "Mr. and Mrs. Callahan," he said firmly. "I'd like to discuss Evan's results in private." Mom waved her hand. "Say whatever you want. Rachel's just here for the ride." The doctor hesitated, then sighed. "Evan's results show serious issues. He will need consistent follow-ups, possible treatment. And let me be clear, joking about transferring blood or falsifying records is dangerous. This clinic doesn't tolerate exploitation." His tone was sharper now. Mom's smile faltered. Dad cleared his throat. But before they could speak, I reached into my bag. I pulled out my phone and placed it on the counter. The screen glowed. The audio played. Can her blood work for my son? She's just storage anyway. Why not drain her completely? At least she'd finally serve a purpose. She's lucky she even has a roof. Their voices filled the room. Loud. Undeniable. The doctor froze. The nurse stopped mid-step, eyes wide. Even Evan's face dropped, his mask of arrogance cracking. The room went silent, except for the sound of their own laughter echoing back at them from the recording. Mom lunged for the phone. I snatched it back. My voice was cold. Go ahead. Try. I already sent copies. Dad's face turned red. You wouldn't dare. I already did, I cut him off. The clinic board. The school. The neighbors. Everyone has it now. The doctor's face hardened. This is abuse. We'll have to report this immediately. Mom stammered. It was just a joke. The nurse glared. You don't joke about selling your daughter's blood. I stood tall, finally meeting their eyes. Storage doesn't just hold things. Storage keeps records. And I've kept everything. As I walked out of the clinic, their voices weren't laughing anymore. They were panicked. Desperate. By evening, the neighbors whispered. Reports spread. Their perfect image shattered. The video of their words went viral in town. Shared by classmates. By coworkers. By friends. Headlines followed. Parents call daughter storage. Suggest using her blood for son. Their empire of pride collapsed overnight. Evan became a joke at school. Dad's coworkers stopped speaking to him. Mom's friends cut her off. Everywhere they went, people stared. People whispered. People pulled away. And me? For the first time, I walked tall. No longer storage. No longer shadow. I was the one who kept everything safe until the right time. And the right time had come. They had turned me into a punchline. But in the end, they became the joke. And everyone laughed at them. Please like and subscribe for more videos. Also comment where you're watching from.